Hello everyone, welcome to today's program. I'm Tang Jingyuan. The Lantern Festival lights have barely gone out and the festive warmth hasn't yet faded, yet a silent storm has already swept quietly across China. Late at night, train stations are brightly lit with crowds surging. Millions of migrant workers haul heavy luggage toward the platforms, but this time they're not heading toward family reunions and warmth. Instead, they're being forced to a crossroads by harsh reality. Stay. What awaits them are absurdly low wages, jobs that are increasingly hard to find, and possibly nights spent shivering under bridges. Go back. Their hometowns offer only deeper emptiness. No opportunities, no factories, no future, just a suffocating sense of waiting to die. Even more troubling, bad news is emerging simultaneously across multiple sectors. The once dominant e-commerce empire JD.com has suddenly reported a staggering net loss of 2.7 billion RMB. Meanwhile, manufacturing giant BYD has shocked the market with news of a 41% plunge in sales. A vast net seems to be slowly tightening, and trapped inside it are countless ordinary people. Today, we'll tear through these layers of fog to expose the shocking truth behind this wave of returns home. From the collapse of the consumption empire, to the cliff-like fall of manufacturing titans, to the eye-popping self-rescue tactics of local state-owned enterprises, this economic trap is strangling millions of ordinary citizens, and the powder keg could explode at any moment. If you're following this topic, please hit subscribe and turn on notifications for all updates so you don't miss future episodes. Let's zoom in first and go straight to the scene of this return home wave. On March 11th, 2026, with the Lantern Festival warmth still lingering, an unprecedented return-home army erupted at train stations across multiple Chinese cities. This isn't the usual post-holiday commute back to work. It's large numbers of migrant workers unable to find jobs or earn livable wages being forced to choose going home to lie flat. Guangzhou, Shanghai, Yiwu and Wenzhou in Zhejiang, Wuhan, Zhengzhou, Beijing, Tianjin, Shenzhen. These former paradises for migrant workers have now become cages of despair. What kind of blood, tears, and helplessness lie behind the phrase, lie flat? Let's listen to these real, living stories. They'll break your heart. A young man from Yuncheng, Shanxi, named Xiaoming, pseudonym, left home after Lantern Festival, spent over 3,000 RMB traveling around Wuhan for 5 or 6 days, but came up empty-handed. He said helplessly, "I've gone around the whole country. Wuhan, Zhengzhou, no jobs anywhere. Beijing is all security guard positions. Tianjin isn't worth going to. Even the locals there are leaving to find work." In Shanghai, a video that went viral on X on March 8th captured migrant workers boarding trains to go home and lie flat in a bleak scene. The filmer remarked wryly, "The first batch returning home for the new year in 2027. Look at that, so many people." The comment section was filled with laments. Back so early already. "Don't scare me, I'm still on the train. This isn't going home for New Year. This is going home to lie flat." A Shanghai resident, Mr. Wang, revealed the inside story. His son worked at a 5-star hotel, but the boss absconded after the holiday without paying wages, now unemployed at home. His niece's child was laid off from a tech company. Young people are relying on their parents. Companies and factories are shutting down. Streets are eerily empty and quiet. Those outsiders who prefer wandering the cities rather than going home are even worse off, sleeping under bridges and getting chased away, scavenging trash but facing restrictions, huddling in cotton quilts against the cold wind. The dramatic irony is staggering. Beneath the glittering metropolis lies an astonishing survival crisis for the underclass. In Yiwu and Wenzhou, Zhejiang, the situation is even more heartbreaking. A textile factory worker from Qianxinan, Guizhou, named Xiao Yang, pseudonym, arrived on Lantern Festival Day and found 12-hour shifts paying just 15 RMB per hour, with meal deductions. The factory area was deserted, nights as quiet as a ghost town, eerily few people. He decided to head home immediately. "Wages here are too low, I'm on my way home now." Xiao Yang, who only finished junior high, owes 130,000 RMB in car loans. In small cities, wages are 3,000 or 4,000 RMB, but living costs aren't any cheaper than elsewhere. He sighed, "I personally feel this year is harder than last." Shoe factories in Wenzhou delayed reopening. A woman from Beiliu, Guangxi named Dong Ning drove over on March 4th, hoping to open a breakfast shop, but with few people around and high rents. She turned back on the 10th. She said, "Can't stay in Zhejiang anymore. Many factories aren't opening, business is tough, so heading back home." A worker in Jinhua named Xiao Chen, pseudonym, brought his child and stayed half a month. Wages were 16 RMB per hour, no piece rate options. "I'm almost unable to eat now. It's worrying." In Shenzhen, 3 young people, including Xiao Lin, pseudonym, rented a place for half a month, spending over 1,000 RMB, but found no jobs. They interviewed for waiter or temp positions during the day and scavenged bottles at night to survive. Though Xiaolin insisted firmly, "We'll keep going." The persistence comes amid high rents and scarce bottles and underlying despair. This return home wave isn't isolated personal tragedies. It's a collective collapse from economic downturn, a chain reaction of multi-sector breakdowns. Why is this happening? Let's dive into the consumer market and uncover the first hidden truth. Viewers, the root of this return home wave lies in the collapse of domestic demand in China's economy. During the 2 sessions period, shocking economic news emerged. Leading companies in both consumption and manufacturing are in deep trouble. First, the bellwether of consumption, e-commerce giant JD.com. In Q4 2025, JD.com reported revenues of 352 billion RMB, up just 1.5% year-on-year, but a net loss of 2.7 billion RMB. Compared to a 9.9 billion RMB profit in the same quarter the previous year, this is a stunning reversal. As a benchmark for China's online retail, JD's performance directly mirrors the severe slump in consumer willingness. How weak is domestic demand? Barely any revenue growth, yet a 2.7 billion loss. This signals a drastic deterioration in profitability and a cliff-like drop in market demand. Why is JD like this? It's due to the overall contraction in China's consumer market. With unstable incomes and heavy debt burdens, who dares to spend freely? JD's loss isn't isolated. It warns of impending collapse across the entire retail sector. Think about those returning migrant workers. They can barely sustain basic living at home or in the cities, let alone spend on online shopping. This directly reduces e-commerce orders, idling logistics, warehousing, and related links. The 2 sessions were supposed to project confidence, yet such bad news leaked out, proof that the government can no longer hide the economic distress. The consumption collapse not only hits e-commerce, but ripples into manufacturing. Let's move to the next frame. Now turning to manufacturing, China's economic backbone, yet now its most vulnerable link. BYD, the new energy vehicle leader, saw February 2026 sales plummet 41% year-on-year, the steepest drop since the pandemic. Cumulative sales for January-February fell 36%, with 6 straight months of year-on-year declines. Capacity utilization below 50%, leaving the company struggling to survive. Tesla CEO Elon Musk bluntly commented on social media that BYD's troubles reflect a severe economic recession. The X account Li Laoshi is not your teacher put it sharply. Apart from the Great Depression, we've never seen such rapid sales declines. What's behind BYD's crisis? After years of hyper-growth, demand has shrunk dramatically. New energy vehicles were once China's manufacturing flagship, but now face overcapacity and lost orders. Factories running under capacity mean upstream supply chains break and downstream dealers lose money. This directly hits employment. Parts factories and assembly line workers around BYD bear the brunt. But the harshest blows are coming from local state-owned enterprises. Viewers, if bad news from consumption and manufacturing is the alarm bell, then the actions of local SOEs are the hammer blow. They're implementing phased leave or full standby, paying no or minimal wages while covering only partial social insurance, forcing employees to quit voluntarily to avoid severance payments. This is disguised forced resignation, more ruthless than outright layoffs. Take a large Jiangsu construction enterprise with registered capital over 600 million RMB and 25 years of operation. On February 24th, it notified all administrative staff of phased leave from February 24th to April 30th, with only possible social insurance coverage. Employees handle their own portions. The notice also encourages independent job seeking or entrepreneurship, clearly pushing people out. Employees face no income while waiting, plus self-paid insurance. Quitting plays right into the company's hands with no compensation. This fire has spread nationwide. In January 2026, Beijing Construction Engineering Group put everyone on standby from January 6th to June 30th. Full pay the first month, then down to 70% of Beijing's minimum wage, netting under 2,000 RMB after deductions. Shanghai's central SOE construction firms haven't escaped either. The statistics are shocking. In 2025, construction industry employment averaged 51 million around, down 12.97% year on year, and over 8 million left the sector. In the first 2 months of 2026, 134 construction firms nationwide went bankrupt or restructured, including Jiangsu Zhongnan Construction Group, ranked number 8 among China's top 500. February's construction PMI was 48.2% in continuous contraction. This winter didn't freeze overnight. It's the inevitable adjustment after more than a decade of real estate's wild boom, the end of a high leverage, high turnover, extensive expansion model. Construction links to over 50 upstream and downstream industries supporting tens of millions of jobs. Its tremors spread to steel, cement, building materials, home furnishings, eventually touching every one of us. Now, let's piece these seemingly scattered fragments together. You'll see a very clear and very terrifying chain emerging. Start with consumption. When ordinary people dare not spend, the consumer market cools rapidly. Even giants like JD start posting massive losses. The entire domestic demand engine is visibly stalling. Then manufacturing. Cooling consumption means fewer orders. No orders force factories to cut production or shut lines. When a leader like BYD sees cliff-like sales drops, the entire supply chain feels the pull. Next, infrastructure and SOEs. With local finances strained and debt pressures mounting, some SOEs resort to phased leave or stand by. Politely put, it's a temporary rest. Bluntly, there's no money to operate, no projects to undertake. Thus, a complete chain reaction forms. Weak consumption, fewer orders, manufacturing contraction, limited infrastructure investment, and more industries collapsing. Restaurants, logistics, hotels, and commercial services, sectors that seemed unrelated are now dragged into the vortex one by one. At the end of this chain, employment. Once the economy turns downward, the jobs crisis spreads like a virus. From leading enterprises to small factories. From white-collar to assembly line workers, almost no one is completely immune. Many ask, is this just an economic cycle? The problem is likely far more serious. This looks more like a long-accumulated structural issue finally erupting all at once. The real estate bubble is slowly bursting. The growth model propped up by high leverage has reached its limit. Local government debt hangs like a mountain over public finances. The high-speed economic machine of the past decade plus is gradually losing momentum. Those shocking bad news items, corporate losses, sales plunges, mass standby are likely just the tip of the iceberg. Deeper issues include stimulus policies for domestic demand becoming less effective, limited room left for employment stabilization, growing pressure on livelihood safeguards. Society-wide anxiety is quietly building. Deep down, many people understand. As the economy heads down, opportunities grow scarce, and more ordinary people are pushed to the margins. A massive social powder keg has already taken shape. Many view this year's return home wave as the end of a phase. But from another angle, it may be precisely the beginning of a far larger shift. In this enormous storm, where will those already with nowhere to go ultimately end up? If you enjoy our content, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. See you next time.